Good morning. It's Wednesday, June 2nd, 2021. I'm Pastor Thor Ramsey with Center Church. This is Gospel for Five, where we take 5 minutes out of our day and focus on the gospel because Jesus is the gospel. We've been looking at the wisdom God has given us through Solomon in the book of Proverbs. Well, primarily Solomon. And today we're looking at laziness. Go to the ant, O sluggard. Sluggard, that's a lazy person, a slug. Consider her ways and be wise. Without having any chief, officer, or ruler, she prepares her bread in summer and gathers her food in harvest. In other words, look at the ants. Without anyone telling them, without a ruler or a chief or an officer above them, they actually prepare for the summer and gather their food at harvest time. So, in other words, they don't put off what they should do during the proper season. How long will you lie there, O sluggard? When will you arise from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber and want like an armed man. The same principle here applies in reverse, really. Is that tackle a task a little at a time if you have a big task. The example I use is writing. If your goal is just, if you set a goal of I'm going to write 10 pages a day, something like that, it's really an unrealistic goal. And when we set goals that are too high, we can't meet them, and so we give up. So, in terms of big tasks, just do a little every day, 1 page a day. It's the same thing with, whatever you're trying to, in terms of gathering. An ant doesn't go out and gather everything it needs in one day. It says little by little. So that's how the ant does it, and it's the same thing. Or a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber. In other words, you're not diligent in your practice of what you're doing. But, if you write 1 page a day, every day for, 90 days, there's 90 pages. That's a screenplay. If you're trying to write a novel or whatever, 90 pages is generally you're looking at, generally with novels you do word count, but, you want to write at least 140 pages, 180 pages. That's an average length novel. So look at it that way. So, 90 days, 180 days, so 6 months, you've bit off a life goal, writing that novel. Now, that's the first draft, of course, but you've accomplished that goal. That's the same principle here is what I'm trying to emphasize, which is, again, so in some of these pragmatic things, not all pragmatic things are, the Bible's full of pragmatic things that affect our daily lives. And we want to apply this to our spiritual lives. A little at a time adds up to a lot. Just pray a little every day. Read a little scripture every day. Again, it doesn't matter how much. The idea is consistency of relationship with the Lord and hearing from Him through His Word and responding to Him in prayer. Read a little bit, even if it's a chapter or just a few verses, whatever. Put it this way, whatever you can do consistently, do it. If you can consistently read just 1 verse a day, if you can consistently read a couple verses a day, if you can consistently read a chapter a day, whatever it happens to be, if you do it consistently, it adds up to a lot. It adds up to what? Well, ant feeding its village. It's the same thing regarding our lives. So, a little in all these areas adds up to a lot. You've heard this. This is a cliche, but here's the thing about cliches. They're cliches in other words because there's a truth to them, but it is one of those kind of truisms. A little adds up to a lot because it's true. But it's not true if we don't do it. How many people just save a little every year? right? So think. Well, anyway, you get the point. So what's God said to you today?